Okay, so we have the latest Sunday Independent Ireland Thinks poll. State of the parties: Sinn Féin 33 down 1, Fine Gael 21 up 2, Fianna Fáil on 18 unchanged, the Social Democrats on 6 up 1, the Green Party on 2 down 3, Labour down 1 to 3%, Solidarity People Before Profit unchanged on 3%, Aim 2 unchanged on 2%, and Independents and Others on 10 down 1. That's the state of the parties. And I think really what we're finding in this poll is that not a lot has happened politically over the month of August, and I think that has reflected in not much change. The only change, significant change, probably Fine Gael up 2, I guess, but the more significant change, the Greens down 3 points to 2%, bordering on statistical irrelevancy at that number, and perhaps that is a consequence of Catherine Martin being seen to be missing in action in terms of the RT crisis over the month of August. And it's also worth noting that Eamon Ryan's personal popularity rating is down again to just 18%. That will be very worrying for him. He's the least popular of the main party leaders and has been consistently the case over the last year or so. Joined by Kevin Cunningham from Ireland Thinks. Kevin, what is this poll saying to you?
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes in trying to understand these polls, try to understand what are the priorities, what are the things that people are saying are more important. And as you mentioned, the Green Party, we asked this question, which of the following issues are the two most important priorities to deal with, and people can select two of them. One of the issues there is climate change, and that was 16% last month, and it's 10% identifying climate change this month, which is relatively low for that issue. So maybe the weather is also impacting on things a little bit there.
Not as much rain in August as there was in July.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe my timing on when the rain exactly happened, I don't know. But certainly when you're coming to the end of the summer, there is this kind of seasonal effect. But the other thing that's been kind of consistently relatively high has been crime and drugs. And it just reminds me when you're saying that Fine Gael are up. Maybe Fine Gael might be perceived as the party of law and order, or at least historically was. And if the number of people identifying drugs and crime being the 13% identifying that as a priority to deal with, which it really wasn't a couple of months ago, maybe that's a reflection.
Yeah, I mean, Helen McEntee, the Justice Minister, again, someone under pressure a few weeks ago, has announced a range of initiatives in terms of the Guards to 10 million investment into Garda operations in Dublin. There's also changes to the recruitment age coming as well, which have been flagged this week by my colleague Senan Maloney in the Irish Independent. But the other question we always ask is, in a forced choice, which of the following would be your preferred government? And Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, Green Party, the current coalition, at 40%. That's up 1 on the last time we polled this. And a Sinn Féin-led government, excluding the two Civil War parties, Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, on 42, down 1. And I'm not sure, unchanged on 18%. But we've also, in recent, the last two polls now, or three perhaps, we've been asking this question of, in another forced choice, which of the following would be your preferred option for government after the next election? The re-election of the current coalition, or a Sinn Féin Fianna Fáil coalition? And the numbers there, the current coalition 38% up to 30 from 36, and the Sinn Féin Fianna Fáil coalition 42%, up 3 on the last poll, and the I'm not sure's, don't know's down to 20%, down 5 points. So that voter sentiment around the idea of a Sinn Féin Fianna Fáil coalition is strengthening, I guess. And people are looking at that more and more as a possible viable coalition after the next election when you crunch the numbers and you see the seats. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, Hugh. I mean, it's a very interesting question because it is the key question, the Sinn Féin Fianna Fáil coalition, because it's probably the only viable government, at least based on the current polls, that could possibly emerge. The fact that it's increasing is interesting as well because if you go to the period before the last general election, Fianna Fáil voters were generally soft towards this idea of the Fianna Fáil Sinn Féin coalition, but since they've been in government, the Fianna Fáil voters have been very against this. They've become more Fine Gael over time, but clearly they're now, maybe they're moving again towards this direction. And look, we've got maybe a year and a bit at most, until the next general election, possibly, only just a year.
It'll be this time next year that we
year.
could be on the run into the general election. So, of course, this poll is also coming in the context of the very exciting news for political nerds this week, the redrawing of Ireland's electoral map, the addition of 14 new TDs to the next Dáil, 4 new constituencies, and very exciting news for readers of the Sunday Independent and independent.ie tomorrow. Kevin has been up all night. He's got 2 laptops, he's got hundreds of spreadsheets, and he's been crunching the numbers to project the number of seats that each party will get in the 174-seat Dáil after the next election based on the polling, and lots of good stuff in the Sunday Independent and independent.ie about that tomorrow. So make sure you pick up a copy or log on online.